Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attacker Productions. Today, Banker be joined again by Jimmy, Jake, Trevor, and like always, Fluff.
Yes, sir.
What's going on, y'all?
Hello.
What's up, beautiful people?
And today's matchup is Jake versus Trevor. Trevor has SS3 Goku, and Jake has that metal leader, so he just wants to continue making it shine. Like I would just buttons down below, but let's get into today's matchup.
Does anybody hate this intro as much as I do?
No,
No, really?
I mean,
It's
you're the
just,
only one that brought it up, so I would assume nobody else hates it as much as you do, just by that paradigm.
No,
It's just-
the people are probably nicer than me.
yeah, it's just you.
That's unfortunate.
I thought about changing my hello to something else, but I know just how much it bothers you, so I'm never changing it.
No, I like yours. I like yours. It's just too robotic. It's too clean. We gotta like fuck it up. We gotta like say some dumb shit. That's good, isn't it?
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah, we're a minute in. We're good.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah, just pretty standard turn one for both of us, I think. He didn't really have too big of a play. Probably should have swung before I played a guy, but that's okay.
Yeah, I think you had talked about how like a previous match kind of had you in your head at the beginning of the game, and then just created a misplay turn one. But ultimately, I think you end up with the same number of cards in hand and the same number of things on field.
Yeah.
With this deck, ideally, I want turn one to have intersecting fates, but I draw it off the top here. Ideal turn one, you have intersecting fates in hand, you play it, you restand one, and then you have Beerus destroys going into your opponent's turn to help kind of keep life so that you can ideally at least get 2 charges off the leader effect.
And that's smart to keep your own life total high. That way you can get more ramping out of it.
Yeah.
Do you only run the Beerus Destroys, or do you also run the Ultra Instinct Kamehameha?
I only run the Beerus destroys because you need the draw in this deck since you don't draw off leader. And with UI, you don't get the draw on your opponent's turn. You only get it on your turn. And I don't need to restand an energy in this deck with the UI. So it just feels better to use the Beerus over the UI with this leader in particular.
It's almost like an interesting. I'm losing the word in my brain, but a opponent to SS4 Vegeta, where SS4 Vegeta wants to use these cards to make sure damage goes through for the ramp, where this deck wants to use them defensively to make sure that you get, your ramp from the life, which is kind of an interesting way to think about these ramp decks.
Yeah, it's ultimately the same result with the same cards, but played in a completely different way.
Yeah.
And here, last turn, I used the 1-drop slug to play the 3-drop draw denial slug. I forget the exact name.
Super Namekian.
Super Namekian, yes. But this card kind of ends up being a bully for a couple turns during this game because Trevor has a lot of ways to draw cards outside of the leader, and at the moment, they're all turned off.
Yeah, and the leader doesn't draw on this side. So it's a real issue because you lose cards early game. Each time you swing to ramp the energy and to get yourself down to 4, you have to bottom deck a card from your hand. So early game, you are like rocking 4 cards. So like if I can't get draws off of Intersecting Fates or off of Boo Unison, then my hand size from that point forward is basically non-existent. So I have to remove this slug, otherwise there's absolutely nothing I can do whenever it comes to dealing with it. It's also the first time I've ever actually played against it, even though I've talked about it a bunch. Between this and Poutine, my hatred for yellow runs high.
Just a lot of really gross disruption in the color.
Because of the state of your hand, Jake is probably highly motivated to protect the slug.
Oh, of course. I'm even comboing cards off the board to protect it.
Yeah.
Also, something that I realized after my match with Nick, I kind of didn't have to spend much time prepping decks this week. So like I just took the pieces out of my other decks and threw it in here. Because I've been reading a lot more recently, so less time spent on various other hobbies. So I'm only running 3 super combos. You've seen one. You've actually seen 2, because the other one is in my energy. So I have 1 super combo left in deck at this point.
Oh, no.
Did you realize that at the shop?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I was just finishing my second round when Trevor was packing his stuff off the table, and he's like, you realize something? And Jake's like, what's that? He goes, I'm only running 3 super combos, and it's like, oh shit. Like I don't know if Trevor was talking shit or like he was making excuses, but we're gonna find out here, I guess.
This man is based. Why waste that extra deck slot on a super combo when you can just run other good cards?
Yeah.
He run a 5th Sensu Bean.
That would
Yeah,
actually.
I got to keep up my my current reputation of making misplays every single week. May as well just throw in an extra card.
You're not the only one, brother. I too make many a misplay.
And then there's my 3rd super combo. That is the one thing, is that the slug specifies from your deck, so at least I was able to pick up something from my energy with that to kind of help refix my hand with stuff I felt like I needed for the match, which is this guy here. I think is actually what I picked up. Just to kind of clean up his board and give me a couple more swings at this slug, trying to get rid of it.
Yeah, since he rested a card from Frieza, I'm just going to take the opportunity to jam Poutine and try and bait a God Seal so I can go into my turn with a little bit more confidence, but he doesn't have one.
This Vegeta the Interceptor is so good. Back in the regular SS3 format, I was a big fan of Oath Powered Tapion, I think it's called. But it was basically 3 energy to bottom deck 1 card. And this gives you the ability to bottom deck 2 cards for 3 energy. So it's just a straight upgrade to what that Oath Powered Tapion was.
And it's bigger body, and you get a dual attacker. It's
dual
great.
attack. Yeah. Like, I love this Vegeta. Like, it to me breathes new life for Blue. Because this is the type of removal that Blue needs moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, unfortunately for me, he's able to board a Ready to Rumble here. But I kind of feel like the time is nigh. And I need to put whatever pressure I can. So, even though I probably should have tapped the slug in my energy, since I knew I was going to spend it, yeah, I just go ahead and spend all the energy I can here. And just try and make a play. I get rid of the dual attacker because that's a lot of pressure to slug. And you can see I'm thinking about it, but I've pretty much decided, yeah, that I'm going to be swinging.
You don't have to worry about that Servant Gohan because it has Servant, so it's not going to restand anymore. So it's kind of a dead card unless Trevor is big brained like no one else and teched in an Overlord card.
Yeah. I spent my Vegeta detach on the Boo, even though he's at a low life total. I figured since Slug has been pretty much starving him from cards in his hand for the majority of this game, and here I've finally let him get it. I feel like it's got enough value for me at this point, but Trevor quickly starts refilling his hand and kind of makes me regret that decision.
Pan is hype there.
Yeah, he swung at the Unison, so Pan was kind of obvious to try and keep it alive, but unfortunately he's just able to replace the Boo with a brand new one, basically time walking me off of my last turn, and it cost me an energy.
Yeah.
It's just so the unison's just too good, and like once he's down to 2 markers, his value drastically diminishes. Because at that point, it's a -1 and block away from death. So I feel like if you can't let him get below 3, otherwise he's basically dead in the water.
Well, it's a leader swing Champa away from getting no value at that point
Yeah.
as well.
Depending on when you utilize your stuff, yeah. And here, since I've got a lot of shuffle effects, I go ahead and swing Pan at the lead to try and bait the Boo minus to hopefully get to reuse it later in the game. But Trevor's smart enough to know that that's kind of what I'm going for, and he just blocks it.
Yep. Which is so weird. In my head, watching Trevor's turn, I was like, okay, this Basil is about to pop off. But then he's just like, oh, well, I'm just going to untap everything that I just done this turn.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
if this Basil is relevant for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Basil, he's like, I'm just never gonna be able to get the effect off. I asked him, I was like, how many energy is it though? I need to know exactly how many so I can try and play around it, because it will actually give me a lot of issue. Or my option is to -1 it off board, is basically my only other option if I don't want to try and play around it.
Feels very bad.
There, I just utilized the Vegeta auto to go ahead and get rid of that Gohan, even though it's no threat. It just I might as well utilize the effect. Now that the -1 has happened, I feel a little bit better about trying to swing and force him to rest cards. So maybe, hopefully, I can make this Basil do something for me. But as previously stated, Trevor's going to plan on playing around that for the rest of the game, which I think is pretty smart, because it's just a dinky 4K as long as he plays correctly, and he doesn't even have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I am getting dangerously low on health now, though, is the only thing. So, like, every single decision that Jake makes, I have to, like, perfectly respond to. Otherwise, I'm basically in danger zone.
And in contrast, I've still got a little bit of breathing room. You can see I'm still at 6 life. So I'm kind of hoping he does some damage to me this turn, because you can see the super combo in my energy. They've just been dead for so long in my hand this game that I felt like I needed to get some kind of value out of it. So at this point, I'm trying to encourage him to attack my leader. Not verbally, just like the way I'm playing.
Nah, Jake the entire time was like, hey, yo, Trevor, like, attack my leader, bro. Like, I'll make it worth your while, man.
Yeah, I gave him the old Hernandez.
Well,
Yeah,
he was like, so.
He was like inching up his leg under the table. Like,
Classic.
yeah. It was kind of weird, to be honest.
You know what they
Another
say?
thing
Why
is
don't you go toe?
So Trevor God seals the Frieza here. That kind of curled my toes a little bit. But yep, reveals a super combo, which will get shuffled away. Now that there's one in my energy, I would have liked to have that. But you know, Murichim's gonna be a little bit of a problem this turn.
Yeah, so I play Murichim to proc Trunks. Primarily, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. Because it has barrier, it'll still proc it, but I can't be chosen.
Correct.
I have barrier, so I can't be taken by Pan. Another thing I'm playing around. And then
Basically, Yellow doesn't have an answer for Murichim. Because
Not a
of
clean
that.
one.
Not a clean one. Like, they've got to swing into it and invest some cards out of hand to try to guarantee that it comes off the field.
And the Boo Unison doesn't really isn't beholden to Frieza, so he just goes ahead and puts me to 4 and finishes his turn with Intersecting Fates, like getting full value off of his energy, and now he's going to restand enough of it to where I think Basil still isn't live. Yeah, he is. Oh, no, Boo restands, so no.
Yeah.
I'm actually short 1 here as well. I did this in the match earlier that we recorded. I should have restood another one off of Fates as well. So I should actually have 5
That's
right
right. Yeah. Helps to read your cards. It's kind of good in this game, you know?
Yeah, well, I think it's a little bit overpowered. I think we can just do without that.
It's like throwing cards down on the table and seeing what I can get away with.
That's what I usually do.
I mean, usually I just put cards on the table and say they do something.
And I shake my head and say, yes, Judge, yes.
So here I opt to draw a card off the leader because in my mind, I have to play around Baby Hatch. And if I get Baby Hatched, he can pretty much kill me on my next turn with any assortment of blue good stuff. So the rest of the power that I can possibly grab here is going into this combo.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is a stupid giant misplay on my part. Or it's not necessarily, in hindsight, it is a misplay. I get in my head when I play against yellow, and I immediately think cooler. Because we reveal here that I did have Hatch, and my options were play Hatch and get coolered, or he has Chompo, or in his case, Hidden Surprise, East Kai, or whatever. The correct play after running it back in my head about 16 million times is Hatch. If he coolers, I would have lost anyway. But by not hatching, I basically gave up the win.
You always had a blocker option, though, in that swing.
Right, we talked about that as well after the game. But whatever swing I did get through with, that was pretty much my game plan.
And with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Keep on those buttons down below and on the screen while Fluff does the outro. Oh, wait, before all that, Jimmy, suck it.
Suck it, Jimmy.
No, you suck it.
Suck it. Oh, no one else knows that joke. Never mind.
Yeah. As always, read your cards, know your play. Let us make mistakes so that you don't have to, and fluff out.
You started talking shit as soon as I clicked mute, so I heard you.